So that's what we bring to the table is we expose the uniparty. And this happens right here in Minnesota because at this point, shouldn't we just be talking about all the problems of the Democrats? And there's plenty of problems with the Democrats. But you got a guy like Ron Kresha, and he votes like a damn Democrat, and he's in a Trump district. He's in like an 80-20 Trump district. You know, if you want to talk about beating Ilhan Omar as a Republican, it's just not going to happen. She lives in an 80-20 Democrat district. So why not, if you're a leftist, get the most radical left-wing person there? Because finally, you got your Marxists. You got what you wanted. Well, the same thing should happen on the Republican side. When you're in a really strongly conservative district, why would you have a weakling moderate that's a Democrat as your Republican candidate? You should have a strong, staunch conservative. And they don't. They have Ron Kresha. This guy has been bad for years. He's like one of the worst scorers on the Action for Liberty scorecard. He's got a bill many years ago that would have given $5 million. What was that what was the $5 million one?
I got it in here.
Oh yeah. So pull up the article. Jesse just wrote this article for Action for Liberty. And this is, well, go ahead. You describe it. You wrote the article. I haven't even read it yet.
So
it's not even published yet, is it?
Not yet. So you guys are getting the first look here. So Ron Kresha is lying to voters and falsely claims to be GOP endorsed on his flyer that he sent out to all these different Republican voters. This is despite the fact that Dianne Webb-Skillings was able to withhold the endorsement from Ron Kresha, despite his incumbency, despite all the establishment backers, including Rhino Walter Hudson, who who drove all the way out to endorse Ron Kresha. That's something that he's always going to have to live with. And, Walter also, did everything he could to back Emmer and rig that convention. But here's
By the way, to my friend Walter, okay, because this is why I don't want guys like Walter ever running for office, because Walter makes mistakes, in my opinion, on people all the time. He plays too much of the team game. Although Walter's a great mind when it comes to conservative libertarian thought. And he still does. He projects himself very well. So I still want to have hope in my friend Walter, because I've known Walter for a decade. We used to do, used to be on his radio show.
Well, Mr. No Such Thing as the Establishment, a.k.a. Walter Hudson, he went out of his way to endorse Ron Kresha, said that Ron Kresha showed him where the bathroom was. Whatever the hell happened there, I don't want to know. But Ron Kresha has a terrible voting record, dirty tactics, and falsehoods that have been going throughout his career. Included in this was in 2021, he voted for H.R. 1, which was a bill that it was a resolution condemning the January 6th protesters, and then lied about that vote to delegates during his 2024 endorsing convention. This bill falsely claimed that a police officer was killed on January 6th by the protesters, and it supported the count of the manipulated electoral votes for dementia Joe Biden. In 2021, Kresha was the lead author for a bill to spend taxpayer dollars for lawyers to keep illegal immigrants in our country and to help make them citizens. So Ron Kresha cares more about the illegals than he does about the constituents of his district.
Oh my God, it really does say that. I'm just going back and reading this. I haven't looked at this in a while. It says, whereas Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick was killed. And that's not at all true.
Yep. And then, let's see here, 2022, Morrison County's GOP was operated as a slush fund for large out-of-district donors and gave $2,000 to an unendorsed Ron Kresha and an additional $8,000 to Paul Gazelka right before his failed governor campaign. So they gave it to his Senate campaign. What does Paul Gazelka do? He transfers all of the money from his Senate campaign to his governor campaign. And of course, Ron Kresha, not as important as Paul Gazelka, but he still gets $2,000 for being a team player. In 2022, Ron Kresha's wife was illegitimately added to the caucus delegate rolls, while duly elected delegates were kicked off of them. And in 2024, just a week ago, Ron Kresha admitted on video that he votes his own conscience first, then he puts his constituents second. So I put that video in there. People can go and find that for themselves. Posted by Senator Nathan Wiesenberg.
And as I said, this guy is no big conservative, right? Lifetime ratings probably shitty. I don't know. You should have put that in here.
Right.
You haven't published it. But anyhow, in a very strong conservative district.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yep. And
so tell me what he did.
Right. So
this actually got me.
Scroll down a little bit, because in his latest attempt at deceit, he is sending out a mailer that you can see the blue circle there that shows Republican endorsed. So he's putting that on his flyers, and also highlighted there is endorsed NRA member. So he is claiming to have the endorsement of both the MNGOP and the NRA, neither of which are true. So he's like we had already stated, he did not win that endorsing convention. It was basically a split tie throughout the entire thing between him and Dianne. And that was despite all of these people from all these different politicians coming in, trying to work these people, trying to fool these people.
Okay, so Dawson, go see where it says Minnesota Campaign Practice Law in Chapter 211B. It's right above the photo. Yeah, click on that, and then click on 211B02. This is false claim of support. A person or candidate may not knowingly make, directly or indirectly, a false claim stating or implying that a candidate or ballot question has the support or endorsement of a major political party or party unit or of an organization. And then it goes on. A person or candidate may not state in written campaign materials that the candidate or ballot question has the support or endorsement of an individual without first getting written permission from the individual to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so obviously the first clause of that is what comes into play. Clearly violating 211B02.
Mm-hmm.
Clear as day. He does not have the endorsement.
Yep. Absolutely. So he's putting that in there as if he does, and it's obviously a violation of the law. And it's so much of a violation that even Ron Kresha had to admit it. So he put on his Facebook page that that this was an unintentional oversight, that it was old literature. So that's what Ron Kresha had posted there. And, as you can see, he's basically saying it's my fault, my apology. It was just an accident. It was old literature. Okay, but then Senator Nathan Weissenberg, also from the same district in District 10.
It's old literature? Where is he saying that?
Let's see. He says, I unknowingly left the Republican endorsed label on the literature piece. So he's saying
so why is he
he
saying
left it there?
On there?
He's saying he's using old literature.
Okay, but see, the date of the primary is August 13th.
Mm-hmm.
So it's clearly a new piece.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what...
So that just seems like a lie to me right there. And the other
Right.
thing that's interesting about it is, so is he just, at this point, does Ron Kresha assume all is good, no harm, no foul? I just mailed out, let's assume it was thousands apiece to primary voters saying I'm the Republican endorsed candidate. And I'm going to just simply post on Facebook to my friends and family and say, I apologize, I shouldn't have said that.
And I'm self-reporting it.
And I'm self-reporting, which, by the way, you got caught red-handed.
Exactly.
That's why you're doing it. But to me, that does not correct the violation at all. I mean, you just have to imagine that thousands of people that got his lit piece, that think he's the Republican endorsed candidate, that just got tricked by this politician to think that he was the Republican endorsed candidate, will not see this Facebook post.
No way.
So I think either to remedy this situation, and I think this goes to courts. Is that how it works? If there's a violation, they should be forced to call everyone and leave voicemails saying that he is not the Republican endorsed candidate, and he lied or he had an error on his thing, or he has to mail out multiple pieces saying that. Right? Seems to be the right remedy. This.
Yep. And yeah, exactly. And Senator Nathan Weissenberg from the same district pointed this out too, exactly what you were saying. He in his own post on Facebook, he said that there's no way this is old literature, it's new literature, and that Ron Kresha is just covering up his old lie with a new lie. So, he's claiming that it's old literature now. So he's just, again, trying to lie and deceive voters in another attempt by pretending like it was all just a misunderstanding. But go and go back to the article, because the rest of the flyer is a complete joke as well, because he says in here that he is opposed to attempts by the government to infringe on our constitutional rights. Yet he somehow supports illegal immigrants more than his own constituents. He's not trying to get his constituents money for legal services. No, he's trying to get illegal immigrants money for their legal services. And he's got radical Democrats on that bill too. So people should check that out.
And Kresha voted against ending walls of mercy powers.
Right.
In the first vote.
And I also scroll down a little bit there, Dawson. I even linked the HRCC in there. You don't need to click it, but if people do go on there, what they'll see is that he has a profile still up on the HRCC website. What's interesting about it is they only seem to have the incumbents put on there. They don't seem to have the endorsed Republican candidates, even though it should be, when they say meet the team, it should be all of the endorsed candidates that they are working to get behind. So you'd think that would be one thing, but Then Ron Kresha takes things even a step further to show how dumb he is. So scroll down there, Dawson, because he says he was posting thank you notes to all of his donors, but the only two visible that you can see there are lobbyist special interest groups. So obviously, you know, I'm sure that's what all those notes are for. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if some of those were fake. I couldn't believe that he'd have that many people supporting him, but I would believe it when it comes to the fact that these are all probably special interest groups, that he's trying to beg for more money because he knows he is in the first competitive primary of his entire career in a ruby red district against Dianne Webb-Skillings, who is absolutely bringing the fight to him, plans to drain this St. Paul swamp. So, you know, conservatives in 10A are absolutely given a choice in this election. And I think a lot of people in 10A are fed up with Rhino Ron. They finally have someone to take him out.
Let's do